Hello everybody, welcome to what I, the Elegant Irony, have been working on for several weeks now. This is why I haven't posted a video in so long, but this is my final theory. I've been thinking, why has Five Nights at Freddy's obtained the popularity that it has? I mean, it's not necessarily a big game, like coding wise or storage. It doesn't have, well, it has definitely an interesting plot, but it doesn't have a set storyline. So why is it so popular? And I have my thesis, and here it is. Five Nights at Freddy's, diffusion at its finest. And to fully understand my theory, we have to understand what diffusion means. Diffusion is a noun referring to the spreading of something more widely, or basically something gaining popularity. We can see this in YouTube videos, the mobile game Flappy Bird, as well as many other video games. Here's a diagram showing when one person starts a trend, it goes to several other people until it gains a lot of popularity. So how does diffusion relate to Five Nights at Freddy's? Well, here's a timeline. No, not the game timeline, the real life timeline. It was released August 8, 2014 by Scott Cawthon via Desura. 10 days later was released on Steam on August 18th. Now Scott didn't plan to originally release it on Steam until enough people liked it or they were intrigued with it that they wanted more of it, and Scott decided to make a buck off of it. But why in 10 days was a game that wasn't even planned on making any money change into something that became the best indie game of 2014? Why are people attracted to Five Nights at Freddy's? Here it is. The characteristics of horror games. Normal horror games feature we have a protagonist with evil creatures and spirits chasing the protagonist. And this doesn't occur to all, but for the most part. Evil creatures and spirits, that doesn't mean just ghosts and stuff. That could mean like even in the Walking Dead game. Like the zombies chasing Lee and or Clementine around. Now, we have to have a motive for a protagonist to survive. Now that would be trying to find like a girl in a haunted mansion trying to find her lost brother, something like that. And jump scares. But so we move to the characteristics of Five Nights at Freddy's. We do have a protagonist in Mike Schmidt. I will be talking in with knowledge only up to Five Nights at Freddy's 1. And so the evil creatures, well, we have the animatronics chasing. We have the animatronics trying to get into our office, trying to kill us, stuff us in animatronic suits. Now, motive for a protagonist to survive? Well, we definitely don't want to die. So that would definitely be a motive for us to survive. And jump scares? Hell yeah. So, Five Nights at Freddy's is a horror game. We've established that. But then, if it's just another horror game, how has it gained such popularity among gamers? I'll tell you why. It's because Five Nights at Freddy's is not your average horror game. Let's take for the protagonists, and we'll identify each one. We have Mike Schmidt. We have our protagonist similar to any other game. However, normal horror games feature our protagonists moving around with control over the environment, able to kill enemies, interact with almost anything in the environment. But with Five Nights at Freddy's, we don't move at all past our office besides looking around left and right. Only control over doors shutting, lights flashing, and cameras camming. But so we have our evil creature spirits, we have our animatronics coming into our office, right? But they're not exactly chasing you like they would in a normal horror game. In fact, it's more like a besiegement than actually attacking you. You're stuck to your office just hoping that they don't get in and killing you. And Golden Freddy, what is he? He can go in even when your doors are closed. So, but even though each one of them have different movements, I mean, normally the outcomes are all the same. If they get into your office, you will die, and they all have similar jump scares. So variations of different jump scares and different movement patterns. That's what. And there's no damage system like there would be in some horror games. Like sometimes we see, like we have a health bar, like in Left 4 Dead. We see things like that, but we don't see that. If there's one jump scare, you're dead, and that's the end of the story. Go back to 12 a.m. And then we have our motive. Well, there's obviously a motive. We can't die, right? We don't want to be stuffed in an animatronic suit. But then, if that's his motive, how does that make his motives any different from my motives? I don't want to die. I'm only 15 years old. I mean, granted, you have sanity, and I'm not trying to be offensive to anyone when I say that. But I mean, anyone in their right mind, unless they're unless they've been exposed to extreme psychological or physical abuse, they shouldn't want to die. Living is a good thing. And so then, but this also brings up a topic that was brought up in Game Theory by Matt Pat. I love the show. But is Mike really there? Is he just experiencing nightmares? And what he's done? We see maybe he's just forced to live there over and over again. And if so, where's a motive to, if it's just in your dreams, where's a motive to live? Who cares if you die in a dream? So what? You'll lose 15 minutes of sleep. That's all that'll happen. But then, our jump scares. Now, jump scares don't really necessarily differ so much as they differ from game to game for the most part, but these jump scares are badass. I counted up the totals, and there are 5 jump scares in the first game, 10 in the second game, and 6, 1 fatal, 5 survivable in the third game, totaling 21 jump scares. From Freddy sneaking into your office, forgetting to close the door on 420 mode, to Freddy V1 towering over your desk in the second game, and Springtrap sneaking in through the vents and jumping into your office in Fazbear's Fright. These jump scares are some of the best I've ever seen in any horror games, and that's why so many people come back to these games. But also there's one more topic. It's not necessarily too common in horror games, but something I do need to address. Something many people have been intrigued about this game is the mystery surrounding the plot. The mystery surrounding the plot. Game Theory's most watched video is their game theory on Five Nights at Freddy's 1, and their second, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. People want to know more about this plot. How were the children killed? Who killed the children, and how does Bone Guy / Mike fit in? And you know what Scott Conkling's answer was? He didn't go out on a forum telling his synopsis of the story. Here's how he answered. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and then Five Nights at Freddy's 3. But there's still one question that loops around that no one's really addressed and hasn't really been able to be addressed in the Five Nights at Freddy's saga. One looming question remains. Why? Why did the Purple Man kill the children and make the marionette? And this, I believe, will come for us in the 4th game, the final installment in Five Nights at Freddy's saga. Well, this is my theory. You may have a different theory, but this is mine. So I'd like to thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I know I'm in a different place right now. That's because I'm in Myrtle Beach on spring break. So if you do like this, I will, I don't know what I'll be doing next, because I wasn't really communicating with Devin on this one. We haven't been able to come into contact recently. So, I mean, I just kind of did this on my own, but it's taken me a while to gather the information like this, and this is what I found. So I really hope you guys did enjoy this, and stay tuned for more